We interrupt this program to bring you a special news bulletin from CBS World News. A press association has just announced that President Roosevelt is dead. The president died of a cerebral hemorrhage. All we know so far is that the president died at Warm Springs in Georgia.
As modern history's greatest war raged on to its bloody conclusion, the United States suffered the loss of the man who had guided them skillfully during the previous 3 years. Franklin Delano Roosevelt was just 11 weeks into his fourth term as president when he died in April 1945. His death thrust an unlikely candidate into the White House, Vice President Harry S. Truman, a relative unknown from the small town of Independence, Missouri. Truman shot from obscurity into a position of global leadership and into the intense glare of the spotlight. In doing so, he permanently changed the way we think about the role of the vice president, a role he himself once said simply presides over the Senate and sits around hoping for a funeral. As news began to spread of the president's death, reports surfaced from the White House press room of administration staff members and veteran reporters bursting into tears, along with scenes of chaos as the Roosevelt administration rushed to make the official announcement. It wasn't until hours later that the path forward would be clear to the American people. Truman was to be sworn in as president, and he had asked Roosevelt's entire cabinet to stay on. In his first speech to Congress in the days following Roosevelt's funeral, Truman made one thing clear. His highest priority was the same one that had motivated his predecessor, defeating the Axis powers and winning the war.
No man could possibly fill the tremendous void left by the passing of that noble soul. No words can ease the aching hearts of untold millions of every race, creed, and color. The world knows it has lost a heroic champion of justice and freedom. Tragic fate has thrust upon us grave responsibility. We must carry on.
And carry on he did. The first 4 months of President Truman's administration were some of the most tumultuous in the history of the American presidency. They encompassed the fall of Nazi Germany, the suicide of Adolf Hitler, and the use of the atomic bombs for the first, and so far only time, in world history. 75 years later, Truman's legacy remains the subject of controversy, and it is that mixed legacy that we will explore in this podcast. From the National World War II Museum in New Orleans, this is To the Best of My Ability, hosted by the museum's Dr. Kristen Burton. During the next 9 episodes, you'll hear from a number of voices, museum historians and experts, Americans who lived through these events, and Truman himself, as we explore these 4 pivotal months of the war that changed the world.
I, Harry S. Truman, do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. So help me God.